How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this is a story my local rag, my local paper, the Manchester Evening News. I'm reading this off their website, link in the description below like I always do. This is a story about HMP Hindley. HMP Hindley is in Bickershaw in Wigan, Category C prison, holds around 670 prisoners. This story might shock a lot of people, doesn't shock me personally. But this is some of the extent that people will go through to get their hands on spice. For those that don't know, spice is a highly addictive synthetic cannabis. I'm going to read the story, guys. The link will be in the description. Let's get into it. And as always, I want to know what you guys think come the end of the video. Right, so prison bosses investigate after an inmate filmed eating a poo sandwich for spice. Highly disturbing footage which the Manchester Evening News has decided not to publish appears to show a prisoner at HMP Hindley consuming a sandwich said to be filled with excrement while laughing inmates jeer him on. Prison bosses are investigating footage which appears to show an inmate eating human excrement in return for spice. Highly disturbing footage which the Manchester Evening News has decided not to publish appears to show a prisoner at HMP Hindley consuming a sandwich said to be filled with excrement while inmates jeer him on. The mobile phone footage shows one user gagging while consuming the sandwich, as other inmates can be heard screaming and laughing at the Category C prison in Wigan. One former inmate at Hindley says the institution is flooded with spice, a highly addictive synthetic cannabis, adding that prisoners are willing to undergo horrific acts of humiliation just to get their hands on it. The Manchester Evening News has handed the footage to the prison service, which has now launched an investigation. It is the latest in a long line of incidents involving spice at prisons in Greater Manchester, with both inmates and prison staff warning how the drug is causing havoc. And one former inmate at HMP Hindley told the Manchester Evening News that some inmates are so addicted to getting high that they are being exploited by taking part in cruel pranks and punishments. He said this kind of thing happens on a daily basis inside. People have had their heads shaved and have drunk urine. Anything to get hold of some spice. You see people falling over and having fits. The staff do nothing about it. It's actually harder to get tobacco than it is to get spice, which costs around £200 an ounce. Hindley is flooded with spice. I've seen people dying and getting electric shock treatment to bring them back. There have been a number of recent tragedies at HMP Hindley, which opened in the 1960s and has a capacity for around 670 prisoners. In March, an inmate named Anthony Hill from Liverpool died at the prison. God bless him, may he rest in peace, obviously. It is understood he was found hanging. An investigation is continuing. The tragedy followed the death of another Merseyside prisoner at the jail in February last year. Stephen Connell, 20, from Birkenhead, was found hanging in his cell after he was convicted of burglary. Again, Stephen Connell, God bless you, may you rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers are obviously still with your friends and family. No worse place to leave this earth than in a prison, than leave prison in a body bag. Away from your friends, away from your family, away from your loved ones. He was taken to hospital but died 2 days later. His family went on to allege that prison officers turned a blind eye to him self-harming. The prison, which has a capacity of more than 600, is for Category C adult prisoners with sentences of 4 years or less, as well as 18 to 21-year-olds with sentences of up to 4 years. The Manchester Evening News has previously exposed how the use of spice is rife inside the privately run Forest Bank prison in Salford, my old prison. After we handed the footage of the man eating feces at Hindley, we forwarded it to the prison service. Says now they have launched an urgent investigation to identify those involved. Choking. Bless me. Last year, the Ministry of Justice set out a range of measures in the Prison Safety and Reform White Paper designed to tackle the scale of drug problems in our jails. Mandatory drug testing of inmates has been introduced. That's always been in place. While 300 drug detection dogs have been trained to detect psychoactive substances, spice, amongst others. A spokesman for the MOJ declined to comment. However, the MOJ understands that staff at Hindley have been made aware of the footage and are now investigating. Now, it's a disgusting... Let me just have a drink, guys. Bloody coughing me guts up there, nearly dying. So these are the lengths that people will go to, right, to take drugs, to get hold of the drug spice. Now, like I say, a dealer will say to somebody for a laugh, because there's a lot of boredom in prison. It's about breaking the monotony. And some prisoners will say, listen, I will shit onto a piece of bread for you to eat it. If you eat it, I will give you a spliff of spice, 2 spliffs of spice, 3 spliffs of spice, whatever. And crazily, guys, these people, the drug, they do things to get the drug, and the body craves that drug so bad it's highly, highly addictive. And if anyone ever ends up in prison or even on the street and you were offered free, oh, here's a load of free spice, not that anyone's going to give you free spice, but if anyone offers it, and even if it was free, never, please, ever, 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 ever take it. It could cost you everything. It really, really can. And these people are selling their soul to the devil to get hold of the drug. Just imagine, right, they've chosen not to release the footage. Now, I've got a contact at this paper. I'm really going to try to get hold of the footage so I can bring it to you on this channel. I've got to be careful because people like to report my videos, trying to get them taken down. But if I can get hold of the footage, which I'm sure I can, I will bring it to you guys. Just imagine being the loved one of this prisoner in this footage. This is somebody's son. This could be somebody's brother. It could be somebody's father, right? And the humiliation side of things is unbelievable. Now, like I say, it's not, they don't want to do it. But they need that drug to function. And people will do horrific things. Horrific things. People take drugs in prison for many different reasons. Some people come into prison having dabbled recreationally with drugs. Other people go to prison having never taken drugs, but then what prison does to you psychologically and stuff, to alleviate the boredom, to escape the reality of the surroundings, they will take the drug. They can be bullied into it. They can be peer pressured into it. And honest to God, with spice, honestly, I don't take drugs myself. I've sold them, but I'd never taken them, apart from trying cannabis one time. And people try spice, and you can take a couple of tokes, or a spliff, 2 spliffs, but it slowly hooks you. And I'll give you a prime example. Now, when I was in Forest Bank prison, there was a prisoner called Tony. I won't reveal his last name because he's been in and out of prison all his life, and I don't want him to get targeted should prison authorities see this. But there was a prisoner called Tony, very top lad, right? You could see that he'd been ravaged by Class A drugs, heroin, crack cocaine, right? Mainly heroin, right? One day he was in his pad and he was spizzed out, fished out, spiced up, whatever you want to call it. And I said to Tony the next day, I said, Tony, what are you doing on the spice for, bro? He said, I tried spice to wean myself off the heroin. Obviously, at a time, heroin was an opiate-based drug, which at the time, back in the day, heroin was probably one of the most addictive substances known to man, right? Because it's opiate-based, right? And he tried the spice to wean himself off the heroin. What happened? Yes, he became addicted to spice. And it's just ridiculous. It's cheaper than other mainstream drugs. It's double, triple, quadruple the potency. And what it's doing to prisons is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, where you've got contraband, tobacco, mobile phones, drugs, new psychoactive substances like spice, you've got debt. Where you've got debt, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying and violence. And like I say, the humiliation that people suffer. Imagine, I'm speaking to you guys, right? Imagine this, right? If you've been in prison, if you haven't been in prison, imagine that the picture that I put at the start, like I say, you can't see anything, but the picture's blurred out. Imagine that that's your loved one. And they're being humiliated to such a degree, it's been posted on social media with hashtags of HMP, HMP shit sandwich, HMP poo sandwich. Do you know what I mean? HMP spice head, spice up your life, whatever you want it to be. And this is your loved one. You'd be up in arms about it. Like I say, what spice is doing, not just spice, other drugs as well, but what spice particularly. It's an epidemic within our prisons, and it's sad to see, because I worked at Forest Bank on my last stretch as a cleaner, and there's some really good kids on the cleaners, really good kids. And one of the kids I used to get on really well with a colleague. He was called Danny, and he was asked to look after some spice for somebody. He was a spice head. The person asked him to look after a load of spice, right? Why would you give a spice head some spice to look after? Surprise, surprise, the spice went missing. He said he'd lost it, and it transpired that obviously he'd smoked it. He was addicted to the drug. He ended up getting pissed on a mandatory drugs testing. We all got snagged. Well, not all of us. 90% of the cleaners got snagged to go for MDT, mandatory drugs testing. Go into a little holding cell if you have to. People wanting to water up, trying to flush it out your system. And this was in what? January of 2017. I was getting out in the February, but in the January, everyone was like, oh, they can't detect spice, Now, some of the lads had taken spice, others had taken other drugs as well, but one or two of the cleaners were hooked on spice, right? We went for MDT, we went through one at a time, they call you out, you go in, you piss, you seal it, you sign it, bam, you go back to the wing, right? People will talk, oh, no, you can't detect spice on drug tests, blah, blah, blah. You can. And it's simple as that. Two of the cleaners got sacked. One of the lads was Danny, the other one was Derek. Derek was then shipped to the main. Danny was shipped to the main. The screw stitched him up. I don't think they particularly liked him. And they sent him to A1. Now, A1, anyone that's been in Forest Bank will know, A1 is the young offenders wing. Now, this guy wasn't a YO, but they put him in with the YOs. Last time I heard, this was obviously back then, I think he might have been out since then, but he was put on own protection. Because again, couldn't keep his thieving hands to himself, got into debt, and then the lads went after him. So he put himself on OMP, which means that he was still on A1. They lock him behind his door. He gets out for half an hour in the morning before the rest of the prisoners get out. And he gets out for half an hour in the evening, sometimes after the prisoners are locked up, getting out for an hour a day. Half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. Addicted to spice. Top kid, liked him a lot, fell out with him because he was stealing from other people and stuff on a wing. And like I say, you don't want to be a thief in prison, you don't want to be aggressive in prison, you don't want to be a paedophile, rapist, or any sort of VP, and you certainly don't want to be a thief, child murderer, etc., etc. Causing absolute havoc in the prison system, guys. Really bad. But yeah, these are the lengths that prisoners will go through to get their hand on the drug. Now, like I say, you get it on lay and stuff. And the thing is as well, it doesn't just affect the prisoner as well. I'm dragging this video out because I'm going into more detail. What it can actually become part of it. If it's a small amount and you're getting money sent in and stuff, say it's £10, right? Whoever sold you the drug will say, right, come on, let's go to the kiosk. The kiosk like an iPad with an aluminium construction on the wing. Some prisoners are still doing paper canteen sheets, which is just unbelievable in 2019. And they'll go down and they'll order £10 worth of stuff. The dealer will say to the kid, right, I want two of them, one of them, some tuna, this, that, and the other, right? At the end of it, the prisoner that's got the owes the fucking debt will put his fingerprint on. That's how you pay, with your fingerprint. The money comes out, and then obviously a few days later, the canteen will come. You will go to pay for it. When you're getting into bigger amounts, because when you've got addictive tendencies, the amounts don't come down; they go up because your body builds a tolerance to them. So you start to get more drugs on tick, and then you start to get drugs on tick when you know you can't afford it. So then what happens? Yep, you're surprised. Yeah, you guessed it. It can drag in your family and stuff. And then what you can get is dealers ringing off prison mobile phones, like mobile phones in prison, ringing parents of prisoners or partners for prisoners. Your fucking son owes me 200 quid for spice. You better give me the money or he's going to get slashed up. He's going to get fucking napalmed. He's going to get fucked up, right? And the family are that scared and that concerned that they want to pay. Now you're thinking, well, how do they pay? So like I say, there's many different ways. They can send, the drug dealer can get his mate on the out to go and meet the spice head's family on the out or friends on the out to go and hand over the money. And then the dealer will ring his mate on the out. Did you collect that dough? Yes. And then the slate is wiped clean. money can be also, you can ring up and say, right, this is my missus' sort code and account number. You better put the 200 quid in there today. And then obviously they leave it for 8 hours, 10 hours, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. Rings his bird, the dealer rings his bird. Babe, was that dough gone in? Yep, right, you swear, clean. Do you want some more drugs on tick? Yep. And we go again. That's how it goes, guys. And like I say, where you've got contraband, you've got debt. Where you've got debt, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying and violence. We're seeing record levels of assaults in our prison, record levels of self-harm. And drugs is spiralling all the time. And it fuels the cycle of crime. And the state that people get into and what the domino effect onto the family is massive. And it doesn't just stop with, like I say, the drug user. It domino effects onto the prisoner's friends and family and stuff. And you see people that have not got a pot to piss in, having to take out, go to loan sharks, try to get overdrafts, simply to pay their loved one's spice addiction. Now it's a catch-22. Pay the drug debt, and the drug user is getting the drug, and the drug dealer's getting happy, the drug user's getting happy, and you're fraught with fucking like worry and anxiety because you think, you know, and you're actually killing the person by doing it, because the more drugs you give them, there's a chance of overdosing. They're constantly chasing that high, and that's where it can lead to an overdose and stuff. And like I say, the amount of people that have dropped dead on spice has been over 90 in the past couple of years, which is unbelievable, guys. What it's doing, you're playing Russian roulette with your life. It's as simple as that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. What are your experiences of spice? What do you know about spice? Have you sold it? Have you taken it? Have you fallen into that hole where you've become an addict? And like I say, once you're in prison and stuff, once you leave prison, that addiction doesn't finish. Oh, no, 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 no. When you leave prison and you go back to, let's say you've got a missus and a kid and stuff, and your missus has stayed by you, she's stayed loyal. Like I say, you come out of prison, that addiction follows you out of the gate, and then you start lying to your loved ones, deceiving them. You'd steal from your own mother to get hold of that drug. And that's the reality. And like I say, if you don't pay, you've got the fear your loved one's going to get beat up, and they will eventually get beat up. If you pay the money, the drug dealer's getting what he wants, the drug user's getting what he wants, and you've not got a pot to piss in and struggling to put food on the table. And like I say, I don't actually blame the people that become addicted to these drugs, because like I say, peer pressure, bullied into it, spiked. I've seen people spiked. I've seen people walk over and say, yeah, bro, do you want somebody's rollie or somebody's spliff? Yeah, go on. And bam. And then the spice just grips them. And once it's got a hold, guys, it's very hard to break the cycle of use and stuff. And like I say, people take drugs for many different reasons. Come in as addicts. I've seen people go to prison having never taken a drug in their life and are leaving as addicts, guys. The day I left prison, there was an Irish kid, right? There was about 10 of us in the room, yeah. And we was all it was a Friday, so there was like more than we was the first group, yeah, because I'd worked my ass off. I wanted to get out early, so I said to the red badge, can you cut me free? I want to get out the gate in the first lot. Because I didn't want to. Friday, they don't release Saturday and Sunday, so you might get 20, 30 prisoners getting out on that Friday, you understand? Anyway, I was in this room, and there was an Irish kid, and one of the other Irish lads said to him, oh, I know where you're going, bro. He said, yeah, I'm going to head to Strangeways, which is an area of the city. We call it Berry New Road. People call it Strangeways. It's near Strangeways prison, to get some spice. It's loads of shops selling all fake goods and knockoff goods, and you can get spice down there. He was going to take his £46, his discharge grant. He was going straight there to score spice. And like I say, it's a sad state of affairs, and it's a very vicious cycle, very hard to break. Gonna leave it there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.